Hello everyone, welcome to my Resident Evil 2 Remake, Hardcore difficulty, Leon 1 scenario, no damage, knife only, S plus walkthrough. And just like what I did for the first video of my Clear 1 scenario, this is going to be from the beginning all the way to G1 Birkin. And it's kind of hard to discuss the strategies I'm going to be doing for this walkthrough because the strategies for Leon 1 are the same strategies you would use for Claire 1. It's just there are certain situations in Leon's campaign where he has a different enemy pattern, he has different enemy types to deal with, and he has additional sections to go through. And then, of course, you have the side character content, which is featuring Ada Wong. But other than that, there's nothing really to discuss with regards to the strategies I'm going to be implementing. Because if you already watched my Clear 1 scenario walkthrough, it's all going to be relatively the same. But anyway, just continuing on, it's probably best I talk about what Leon has to offer in his take on Resident Evil 2 Remake. So Leon is different in how he works when it comes to a knife-only run. The first thing you're going to notice about Leon is that he knifes downward compared to Claire. And it's one of the things that really confuses me about this game. I don't understand why the characters don't have very similar knifing abilities. Why is it that Claire knifes upward? Why is it that Leon knifes downward? It doesn't make any sense. And it makes certain encounters that worked better as Claire worse for Leon. And the greatest example of this is G3 Birkin. Because it's almost impossible to knife this one particular eyeball on G3 Birkin's back as Leon because he knifes downward. As Claire, it's easy to hit the eyeball that's on his back because Claire knifes upward. So the strategy you're going to be seeing me doing for G3 Birkin when I do get there is I'm going to try to wait for G3 Birkin to do his slam move, and I'm just going to try to hit his eyeball through the skin. And it just looks so awkward implementing it. And there's a lot of awkward things that can occur with each of the characters, all because of the fact that they knife differently. I mean, some good traits to note about Leon is that his low attack is pretty useful for hitting enemies on the ground, and he's pretty good at getting rid of lickers. But other than that, it's not really that much of an advantage. For the most part, Leon offers more disadvantages than advantages compared to Claire. So that's why I consider Leon to be my least favorite character to play as in Resident Evil 2 Remake. Even though his outfit that we're about to get, this outfit here that he's wearing, this is honestly my favorite outfit in the game. I just like the way the vest looks. I like the dark blue color that this outfit goes for, compared to the lighter tinge of blue that Leon has for his original outfit. I just think it doesn't correspond well with the colors of the environment. And, you know, his vest just looks so weird. You know, they talked a lot about how awkward the look on Leon's original outfit looked. And that's why they had to tweak it so that it looked a little bit more realistic. And that amount of effort to make the vest look a lot more believable definitely caused Capcom to make an outfit that I actually like. So kudos to you, Capcom, for making an outfit that I actually like. Another thing as well is that Leon looks really nice in this game. I gotta give credit to Capcom for the character models. The character models look fantastic in this game. The graphics look amazing. The color schemes look really nice for this game. It's just a shame that everything else just isn't as good. But back to the way Leon looks. The fact that they made Leon look more like his RE4 counterpart is one of the main reasons why I appreciate his look. If you saw the way he looked in the original version of Resident Evil 2, he just looked so funny. It didn't even look like he was part of the Resident Evil universe. He looked like something from Legend of Zelda, with his hairstyle, just with the color schemes they were going for, and with the way his face looked. It just didn't feel right for Resident Evil at all. So I'm really glad that they changed the way he looked, and that they didn't try to model him around his RE2 counterpart, because if they did, it would just look so unbearable to look at. That's just my own personal opinion. I don't think anyone was thinking of Legend of Zelda, but if you're looking at Link from The Legend of Zelda and you compare him to Leon, I think you could possibly find some similarities. But right there, you saw me knife that zombie when he was on the staircase. Use the lunging motion that you gain when you're standing still and knifing in order to hit his legs. There are times when it doesn't work though, but it's kind of rare. And the fact that it can happen is just really dumb. The fact that the zombies don't have any kind of consistency with the kind of range they have when they're trying to initiate their grabs is something that really frustrates me a lot. And You know, I've already mentioned before that the zombies move very fast on staircases, so they can easily catch you, and you move slower on staircases. This happened to me so many times in the laboratory section of Claire 1, and I showcased the bloopers for that particular sequence where that just happened to me so many times. And it was very, very annoying. But now that I at least have an idea as to how I'm supposed to approach the laboratory section for the A scenario, I can easily apply the strategies for Claire 1 onto Leon 1. So I should be able to get the laboratory section done rather quickly. But right here, I'm trying to lure the zombie into the room because she's on me. And it's random how long it takes for her to get inside this room, but you need to lure her all the way back here so that she doesn't break through the door too quickly. And once she's in this room, go through this door over here, and pretty much the moment you go through 2 doors, the zombies will always freeze. They will not try to bust through doors or anything. They just literally stand still and do nothing. I mean, this can prove to be an advantage, but this can also prove to be a disadvantage because the zombies love to ambush you behind doors on this game. So proceed with a bit of caution when it comes to that. But I'm getting the Lion Medallion right now, and I'm going to do something that I didn't do previously in Claire 1. I'm going to use the 2 wooden boards that I picked up to block off 2 windows in the west hallway, because when we go back through that area, I won't have to deal with so many zombies. I mean, I managed to get past that whole entire section without using any of the boards on my Claire 1 walkthrough, but since this is a no damage walkthrough, it's best I showcase the proper method you're supposed to use. So, when you're trying to board up the 2 windows before picking up the bolt cutters, there is going to be a female zombie inside of this hallway, and she's random where she's going to be. She can sometimes be near this first window, she can be near the second window, she can be in 2 different positions when she's near the third window, so you've got to watch out for where she is. But I get really good RNG right here because she's all the way at the end of this hallway, so I can proceed to board up these windows without any risk of being damaged. And even if I do get bad RNG, I can always use a sprint counter against her, but the problem is that because Leon has his flashlight out, I can't pull my knife out very quickly in order to readjust myself, and the movement on this game is honestly the worst movement system ever, that I have to deal with a lot of heavy animations and loose controls every single time I'm having to not rely on my aiming. And that to me is just really dumb. Why the heck would you put that kind of system in, where you're giving the enemies a very cheap advantage by making your animation so heavy, by making your movements so loose, that you can accidentally run into a zombie's grab, or you can end up accidentally putting yourself in a position where you don't want to be in. Like, that happened to me so many times in the laboratory section of Claire 1. That was even part of my bloopers, where I failed my sprint counter, and I tried to readjust myself so I could do the sprint counter, but because of how loose the movement is, I ended up going way farther than I perhaps should have, and it caused me to get grabbed. It's those kind of questionable design choices that really bring down this particular Resident Evil game when it comes to quality of mechanics. And that to me is just completely unacceptable because Resident Evil is all about mechanics, and this game just doesn't have a lot of that. But anyway, the female zombie that was previously in the west hallway has completely despawned, and she has not been replaced by a lot of zombies if you didn't board up any of the windows. But I'm just going to proceed onwards, and be very careful here. That police zombie that you saw on the right, he's random as to where he's going to be. He can sometimes be very close to the door that you first use the bolt cutters on. And I don't understand why he's randomized like that. It's very dumb that that is the case. And same with this guy. This guy is also completely random. If you take too long to get out of this room, the zombies that are in the hallway that I'm currently in right now will see you through the window, and they will attack you when you try to go through the double doors. And this is dumb as well. Like, you gotta wait for this invisible barrier to go away before it lets you go under. Why? Why does it do that? It's so dumb. I don't remember any moment in a Resident Evil game where that has been a thing, where you've had to wait for a door to open and you couldn't possibly go under it because of an invisible barrier. It's dumb. I really don't like that. But there's the window I didn't board up, but as you saw right there, I can easily get past it, and these zombies cannot get through the wooden boards. The wooden boards last permanently, thankfully. And we are going to proceed onward. The rest of the RPD building is going to be very easy to do for this particular video. So I'm just going to go off on a bunch of tangents. And I'd like to talk about Hideki Kamiya, because I watched Carcinogen SDA's developer interview with Hideki Kamiya while he was playing the original version of Resident Evil 2. And I have a lot of things to say about Hideki Kamiya. So Hideki Kamiya doesn't find the original version of Resident Evil 2 to be scary. And I was so surprised when I heard that, because I 100% agree with Hideki Kamiya. The original version of Resident Evil 2 was kind of goofy, it was kind of campy, it was kind of, silly, in all honesty. I just found that the music and the characters and the enemies and just the dialogue delivery, it all felt pretty goofy to me. And this is in stark contrast to Resident Evil 3, which I consider to be the scariest Resident Evil game. I really like the seriousness of Resident Evil 3, and I like the choice of music, I like the way the enemies are very lethal. And speaking of enemies, look at this. This Licker is being a troll right now. If you wait in this room long enough, he eventually goes away, but the time it takes for him to leave is kind of sporadic. He can be there for a few seconds, and then he'll just go away. Other times, he'll be there for roughly 15 seconds before he goes away, and that was the case with what happened to me just then. So you gotta be very careful when emerging from that door. But yeah, the original version of Resident Evil 2 I did not find to be scary whatsoever. Everything in it just felt kind of actiony. And the scary moments that it did present just didn't feel as scary as some moments from Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. Like, the original version of Resident Evil 2 felt less scary than some parts of Resident Evil 6 on Leon's campaign, in my opinion. I just think that it just didn't really do that good of a job when it came to delivering on the survival horror aspects. And that's quite ironic because a lot of people consider Resident Evil 2 to be the scariest, and I'm just like, why? And Resident Evil 2 actually sold 1 million copies on its first week, and back then, it was actually a big deal because they were able to make Resident Evil 2 a standout title among games like Final Fantasy, because when Final Fantasy released on its first week, it was such a hit with a lot of people, and I guess that's why Resident Evil 2 is considered to be the best Resident Evil game, simply because it sold 1 million copies on its first week, and people are relying on the popularity it received back then as their foundation for how to judge a Resident Evil game. But it doesn't matter how popular a game is. Do you know how many overrated games there are nowadays that don't deserve any kind of credit that they're receiving? Like, when I think of an overrated game, I think of Nier Automata. I haven't played Nier Automata, but I think of SHAREfactory's walkthrough of Nier Automata. Do you have any idea how many positive reviews Nier Automata got when that game is just mechanically broken? It got way more positive reviews than it perhaps should have, and the moment I heard SHAREfactory express a lot of criticism with Nier Automata, the first few minutes in his walkthrough, I'm just like, I'm gonna enjoy this. And I heard all of his complaints, I saw all of the problems that occurred with Nier Automata, I saw his blind playthrough. Just seeing him express that much hatred for Nier Automata, especially when it came from his favorite developer, which is Platinum Games, I can definitely relate, because I'm feeling the exact same way about Resident Evil 2 Remake. Resident Evil 2 Remake is a game that I do not like, especially when it comes from my favorite developer, which is Capcom, because Capcom have made so many fantastic games that have allowed them to just stand out and be dubbed the ultimate game developers ever. But they just fell flat on their asses when it came to developing this game. The developmental process that they went through when developing this game was just such a step backwards in quality that I just don't feel like they exerted a lot of effort when making this game. Which is quite ironic because they have received the Golden Joystick Award for Ultimate Game of the Year for Resident Evil 2 Remake. I should probably appreciate Capcom for receiving praise for something like that, but why? Why should I give them any praise at all? I want to actually give them praise for a reason I can actually get behind, not for something like that. Come on. But this is G1 Birkin. Just do exactly what I'm doing here. I'm doing the circle strategy. When you're behind him, run away. He's either going to do the grab or he's just going to run like this. Stay to his side so that he doesn't do the grab again. And then just keep strafing him like this. Do some very sharp turns to avoid that 3-hit combo of his. And then when he's on the ground like this, you can either choose to run away or you can choose to continue to strafe him like this. I put him in a really good spot just then, which is why I was able to continue strafing him. But this is a pretty bad... Actually, no, it's not that bad of a spot because I'm going to actually let him grab me so that I can actually waste my knife. Because while he's in this stun state, I can just knife him again and initiate the stun once again. So I'm going to do it again. Eventually he's going to get stunned. I'm going to stay to his side. Don't stay too far behind him because then he will do the grab on you. And he's able to turn almost 180 degrees with that grab, and the grab has some really bad detection because it can grab you without actually touching you, and the hitbox lasts way longer than it perhaps should, so it can feel pretty bulk grab a lot of the times when you get grabbed by that attack. But as long as you learn to deal with it, you'll be fine. But this is the end of this video. I'm just going to make a save at the next typewriter. I'm going to continue on with this walkthrough, and I'm going to discuss the strategies, I'm going to discuss Hideki Kamiya, I'm going to discuss Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I'm going to piss off way more fans. I guess that's one of the perks of being a very small channel on YouTube with barely any views on my videos. I can be as liberal as I want with what I have to say, and nobody will bat an eyelid. So, yeah, I'm gonna say all sorts of things about Resident Evil 2 Remake, and nobody will care, because they won't find me on YouTube. But stay tuned for the future videos. Thank you all for watching, and you take care now.